Some people want basketball. Some people want hockey. Some people want wrestling. Some people want football, tennis, or golf. And very few people want all four. And if they come to your podcast and they hear like an episode that it's about a sport like you, John, you love wrestling. Your number 2 was MMA. Number 3, I think, was like baseball. And then you said another sport.
Yeah.
If it was football, hockey, and wrestling, it would be hard for you to listen because like 2/3 of the time, you'd be like, this podcast isn't really for me. Like, sure, I like that one episode, but you don't have a fan from John when we're trying to serve too many people. And that's kind of like what I hear you saying. It's like this one guy that was a real estate investor, helping passive investors, helping entrepreneurs, and helping people that were already doing it, but need to grow their mindset to think bigger or whatever. Like, bro, who are you serving? And he's like, these 4 people. Like, you can't serve those 4 people. You could serve 1 or 2.
Right. And the thing with podcasting also is, and this is something that it really does speak to what the medium does. Podcasting a lot of the times can have 1 host, 2 hosts, 3 hosts, but it is a creative medium with a very low cost of entry, right? Meaning that you could start a podcast just by opening up your phone, right? And that's how a lot of people get started. A lot of people just get started by basically recording 1 episode with them or themselves and 1 other person, right? And up front, there's not this detailed level of professionalism about, okay, cool, what is this audience avatar? What am I trying to do? What keywords am I going to try and hit? There's not any of that. It's just someone wanting to start a show. They end up liking it, and then they go, oh, wow, I want to do this. And what ends up happening at that point is it starts off with how most of us just have a general conversation, right? Most people don't just have in their average life 1 conversation, right? They just kind of riff. They hear what the other person says. Sometimes then all of a sudden you're talking about podcasting. Next you're talking about birds and aviary pieces, right? And it's just like, that's how conversations work. But when you're starting to put out a product that you want to grow, that is a bit of a difficult strategy to grow in unless you are already a name in a given field and people are not just coming to hear the content, but they're coming to hear you, because that's a very different piece of it. We have people that have come to us and said, hey, my name is X and I want to start a show, a podcast. What's it going to be about? Oh, it's just going to be me riffing with friends and bringing on special guests and things like that. Sure, that is an effective strategy. But most of those people already have a name in another industry, let's say. And then, they're just moving the traffic from that industry.
It works for some people, but it's hard to begin that way. That's what you're saying,
exactly.
Right? Okay. I wanted to clarify that. It's hard to be a beginner, just shoot.
Exactly. Yeah. It's one of those things that if you start off, the way I like to put it is if you think about, for example, a Joe Rogan, right? Think about his show. Everybody loves his show because he has these long conversations, these 3-hour conversations with some of the most interesting groups of people you've ever come in contact with. But the thing is, who was Joe Rogan before his show? He was a comedian. He was the MMA guy. He was on, the color commentary, not color commentary. He was on the commentary and he was on Fear Factor. So we already had all of these different channels that he was working in already, that then when he started a podcast, he already had lots of people coming on that also had name value, that he could just sit around and just shoot the breeze for however long. And people wanted to hear just those people shoot the breeze, but he was already bringing in that audience. Then over time, you bring in all these other interesting people from, politicians to musicians to people in different verticals and industries, and you have a recipe for what that is. That's not everybody. Not everybody already has name recognition. So what you have to do, and what is an effective strategy, is really telling people, this is what my show is about, and here's what you can expect from my show. Setting expectations has also been huge. Even something like a trailer that you can put out. Hey, here's my show. Here's what you can expect from it. A lot of people, when they come up front, they go, well, people are just going to click on the first episode they hear. You want to make it really easy for people to know what you're about, know who you are, and know what to expect. Sometimes, someone only has a 30-second elevator pitch or a minute of a trailer. So why try to tell them, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this.
Yeah.
And I used to use this from my time in music too. When I was first starting in music and playing in bands when I was a wee young lad, as we say, we thought that, being completely naive, we should just try to play every single style. And if someone asked us, okay, what style was your band? Instead of saying like progressive metal, we would say, well, you know, we do some jazz stuff. I mean, we have some classical elements, you know, or like if you like Yes, you'll like us. But if you like Protest a Hero, you'll like us too. If you like Behemoth, if you like, and eventually you lose
if you
the
like
person.
Mozart,
like,
you'll love us.
Exactly. Yeah. Anywhere between Yes, Mozart, and P. Diddy, right? So it's kind of like when you do that, you don't give people a clear vision of what you are. And also it makes you seem like you're all over the place too.